What is that called? The Antikythera Mechanism. Yeah. That. Ship owners were extremely careful about who they shared this technology with. When an ancient rusted box was pulled from the depths of the sea near a small Greek island, no one could have predicted the impact it would have on our understanding of history. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a lump of corroded metal, ugly, cracked, and unimpressive. But this forgotten artifact, later named the Antikythera Mechanism, would go on to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. This wasn't mythology or speculation, it was a real mechanical device over 2,000 years old. A genuine ancient computer. Originally discovered in 1901 by sponge divers off the coast of Antikythera, Greece, the find was part of a sunken Roman-era shipwreck filled with treasures, coins, statues, and jewelry. Among the glittering artifacts was this strange, unassuming object. In 1902, archaeologist Vallejo Stais took a closer look and noticed something shocking: gears embedded within the corroded bronze. Many dismissed it as an oddity or mistake. But it wasn't. It was a sophisticated machine. Between 1900 and 1902, expeditions recovered as much as they could from the wreck, but only later did scientists begin to grasp the true significance of what they had. Hidden inside this showbox-sized device were 30 interlocking bronze gears, some so precisely cut that modern engineers were left stunned. This wasn't decorative or ceremonial, it was technological. It could track the Sun, the Moon, the known planets of the time, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and even predict eclipses and the phases of the Moon. It calculated lunar calendars and could map zodiac signs. It even had a gear with 223 teeth matching the Saros cycle, a method used by ancient astronomers to predict eclipses with remarkable accuracy. One gear turned a tiny half-black, half-white ball to show the Moon's phase. You could crank the mechanism and watch as the gears moved, guiding dials across the front that pointed to celestial positions. Essentially, it was a miniature mechanical universe, like someone had built a planetarium and shrunk it into a box. It wasn't until modern imaging techniques, X-rays, CT scans, and 3D modeling, were applied to the device that its secrets began to unfold. The Antikythera Mechanism emerged not just as the earliest known analog computer, but as a marvel of engineering that wouldn't be rivaled for another 2 millennia, not until the mechanical age of the 1800s. And that's where the mystery deepens. How did ancient Greeks possess such advanced knowledge? How did this level of genius vanish from history, only for humanity to descend into the Dark Ages centuries later? Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock have asked that very question, and their theories are as chilling as they are thought-provoking. The Antikythera Mechanism stands as proof of lost knowledge, a forgotten brilliance, and forces us to wonder, if this is what survived, what else was lost? The discovery of the Antikythera Mechanism forces us to confront difficult questions. How did the ancient Greeks build something so precise, so advanced? Where did this knowledge come from, and why did it vanish? We've long viewed ancient civilizations as primitive, but this device shatters that illusion. It proves they were anything but simple. And this idea didn't just quietly unfold in academic circles. It hit the mainstream in a big way when Joe Rogan and Graham Hancock sat down to talk about it on April 23, 2019, during episode number 1284 of The Joe Rogan Experience. The conversation turned to something pulled from the bottom of the sea, something strange, forgotten, and impossible to ignore. Graham Hancock, known for exploring lost civilizations and ancient mysteries, called it what it truly is, an ancient Greek computer. Not a metaphor, but a mechanical device with gears, dials, and intelligence baked into its design. According to Hancock, the Antikythera Mechanism could track planets, predict eclipses, guide sailors, and possibly even function like an ancient GPS. Joe Rogan leaned in, clearly flawed. His reaction said what we were all thinking: how? How could something like this exist over 2,000 years ago? They dove into its impossible complexity. How no other machine like it appeared again for more than 1,000 years. It didn't match the timeline. It didn't fit the story we've been told about the evolution of technology. And that's when the mood shifted. If something so advanced existed then, what else might we have lost? Hancock floated a chilling idea: forgotten knowledge. Perhaps ancient humanity once possessed brilliant minds. Powerful tools. Even machines. And then it all vanished: war, disaster, collapse. Something wiped the slate clean. Rogan didn't push back, he just nodded, overwhelmed. You can almost hear the words slipping out, "That's insane, man." But this goes beyond the gears. It's not just about the brilliance of a single machine, it's about what the existence of this machine means for us. And that's where it hits hardest. The mystery has been solved, but the truth stings. You'd think cracking a puzzle like this would be a triumph. Scientists now understand how the Antikythera mechanism worked. We've analyzed the gears, matched the teeth to real astronomical cycles, recreated its functions, and yes, it works. All of it works. That's the punch to the gut. Because now we know for sure that the ancient Greeks had the capacity to build something astonishing. A machine that could track the stars, follow the phases of the moon, even time the Olympic Games. But instead of leading to a wave of innovation, instead of launching a revolution in science and technology, it just disappeared. There were no follow-ups. No upgrades. No mass production. For over 1,000 years, there's silence. It's as if this one brilliant spark was snuffed out before it could ignite a fire. And that's the real mystery, not how it was made, but why it didn't change everything. Why didn't it lead to the invention of clocks, telescopes, or early computers centuries ahead of their time? Why was the trail lost? Maybe there were other devices. Maybe even greater minds. But something happened, something big. A collapse. A war. A fire. Whatever it was, the knowledge was gone. Graham Hancock calls the mechanism a warning. It's not just an ancient marvel, it's a reminder that human progress is not guaranteed. We rise. We fall. And sometimes, we forget. So yes, the Antikythera mechanism has been decoded. The gears make sense. The cycles align. But what's left behind is a bigger, more uncomfortable question: how did we let this slip away? The Antikythera mechanism wasn't just impressive, it was precise beyond what anyone expected from the ancient world. Every gear, every dial, every tiny tooth had a purpose. There was nothing random or decorative about it. This wasn't a relic made to look important. It was important. And when scientists finally began studying it seriously, they realized they were looking at something that could rival the complexity of 18th century clocks, except it had been built over 2,000 years earlier. Unlocking its secrets didn't happen overnight. Over the years, researchers collaborated with experts from all over the globe: astronomers, engineers, historians, mathematicians. They scanned it with X-rays, CT imaging, and 3D modeling, peeling back layers of corroded bronze to reveal a mechanical soul. They discovered inscriptions carved into the device, faded Greek text no one had read for 2 millennia. Some of it described celestial movements, others listed astronomical cycles with remarkable precision. These weren't just labels. They were instructions. This wasn't just a broken artifact, it was a manual. A blueprint. A machine designed with knowledge that, by all accounts, should not have existed at the time. Then in 2021, researchers at University College London unveiled the most comprehensive model of the Antikythera mechanism ever created. This wasn't a guess. It wasn't a partial reconstruction. It was a full representation of how the entire mechanism worked, from front dials to back spirals. They showed how the Sun, the Moon, and even the 5 known planets of the time, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, could all be tracked using this single compact device. It could predict eclipses, track the phases of the moon, and calculate lunar and solar calendars. Some believe it even predicted the dates of the ancient Olympic Games. It was quite literally a cosmic calculator built centuries before the rise of modern science. And here's the part that makes your heart skip: it wasn't fantasy. It wasn't myth. It worked. Replicas have been built using the same principles and the same math. They perform exactly as described. The Antikythera mechanism is real, and it's functional. The brilliance of it is undeniable. But once you get past the awe, a darker question starts to creep in: if this machine existed over 2,000 years ago, why don't we see more of them? Why is there only one? This is where the mystery deepens, and the story takes a strange, unsettling turn. We now know the Antikythera mechanism worked. We know how it worked. We've proven the gear ratios, confirmed the astronomical alignments, and replicated its functionality. But there's no sequel. There's no follow-up invention. No series of these devices. No signs of technological evolution. It's as if someone hit delete. One machine appears out of nowhere, and then nothing. Some historians believe the answer lies in war. Around 146 BCE, the Romans conquered Greece. In their wake, cities were razed, libraries burned, and entire cultures were disrupted. It's possible that the brilliant minds behind this invention were lost, killed, scattered, or silenced. The knowledge could have vanished in a single generation. Workshops destroyed. Scrolls lost to fire and time. Without someone to pass it on, the science behind the mechanism may have simply died with its creators. Others point to the materials. Bronze was expensive and scarce in the ancient world. If a mechanism like this broke, or simply wasn't understood by those who found it, its parts may have been melted down and reused, for weapons, tools, or statues. The knowledge might have lingered in theory, but the physical evidence was gone. And without artifacts, history forgets. But there's also another theory, one that's more unsettling in its implications. What if the Antikythera mechanism was never meant for the masses? What if it was an elite tool, made specifically for a small group, priests, astronomers, navigators, or the ultra-wealthy? What if it was considered sacred or secret, something too powerful to share openly, a kind of ancient classified technology? And that opens up even more haunting questions. Were there others? Could there be more devices like it still buried in shipwrecks at the bottom of the sea, or sitting in museum storage mislabeled as corroded junk? Some believe the answer is yes. In fact, the same shipwreck that gave us the Antikythera mechanism might still be holding secrets. In 2012 and again in 2015, divers returned to the site and found more artifacts, including a bronze disc featuring the image of a bull. While it wasn't part of the mechanism, it confirmed that the wreck still holds untouched fragments of a forgotten past. The site is deeper than originally thought, and much of it remains unexplored. If one machine survived long enough to be discovered by accident, could others still be waiting? This is what keeps historians and archaeologists awake at night. We've solved the technical mystery, we know what the Antikythera mechanism did, and how it did it. But the bigger mystery is still out there. The real story might still be hidden, deep underwater, in lost libraries, or in unexplored corners of ancient history. What if this device wasn't an isolated stroke of genius? What if it was part of a broader, advanced tradition, one that vanished before it could shape the world? And that's the haunting truth. Yes, we cracked the code. Yes, the Antikythera mechanism works. But in solving one mystery, we've uncovered another, one that asks whether we've underestimated the past, and whether our timeline of progress is as linear as we'd like to believe. Because if something this advanced could be lost for 2,000 years, what else did we forget?